Okay, so here's an example of how to calculate the surface area of revolution. So let's find the area of the surface obtained by revolving the graph of y equals square root of x about the x-axis for the length 0 to x. 0 is less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 1. So we actually can draw this graph this time. This is the y equals the square root of x. So what we're doing is we're revolving this about the x-axis, and we're forming a surface that looks kind of like this. It's gonna look like that. And again, we're not asking how much water can fit in the bowl. We're asking how much wallpaper we need to cover this surface. So let's let's set up the equation. We know that the surface area of revolution is equal to 2 pi times the integral from the lowest x value to the highest x value, which we're given as 0 to 1. Actually, let me just write the general formula and then we'll fit that stuff in. So this is the formula. So we can see that the lowest and highest x values are 0 and 1. So that's going to be 2 pi times the integral from 0 to 1 of f of x is just this function. It's y equals the square root of x. So that's going to be square root of x, and then times the square root of 1 plus the derivative of square root of x. You should all know that by now. That's going to be 1 over 2 root x, and I have to square the derivative. So there I go. Okay. Excuse me. So let's do a little simplification here. There are a couple of different ways you can arrive at this. I don't know that I necessarily do it the most efficient way, but this comes out to square root of x 1 plus 1 over 4x dx. So I can bring square roots, I can combine when I multiply them. So that's going to be 2 pi integral from 0 to 1 the square root of x times 1 plus 1 over 4x dx. So that's going to be 2 pi integral from 0 to 1 of the square root of x plus 1 over 4 dx. So let's see. So that comes out to, can you do this by u substitution? So let u equal x plus 1/4. So du equals dx. So that gives me 2 pi times the integral of the square root of u du, and it's going to be 1/4 to 1 plus 1/4 is 5/4. A little review of u substitution there. So that's going to be 2 pi times 2/3 u to the 3/2 from 1/4 to 5/4. So that gives us now 4 pi over 3 times, it's going to be 5/4 to the 3/2 minus 1/4 to the 3/2. So simplify this. The thing to recognize here is that 4 is a square, it's a perfect square, so it's going to be fairly easy to find 4 to the 3/2. 4 to the 3/2 is 8. So this is going to be 4 pi cubed times 5 to the 3/2 over 4 to the 3/2 is 8, minus 1 to the 3/2 is just 4, and then in the denominator I have a 4 again, so that's going to be 8. So that gives me 4 pi over 3 times 8, 5 to the 3/2 minus 1, and that gives me 4 pi over 24 is the same as pi over 6, so that's 5 to the 3/2 minus 1, and there we go. So that's an example of how to find a surface area.